So now let's begin off with the Realty Plus Conclave with the first session of the day. And I'm telling you, the first session of the day is really very, very interesting. Kolkata residential market, growth and barriers. The session will be chaired by Anirban Gupta, Managing Director, East India, Colliers. With 20 years of experience, Anirban is an industry veteran with proven expertise in leasing, real estate investments, asset management, and new business development. He leads the expansion of Colliers' transaction business, including office services, industrial retail, and data centers divisions in East India, and strengthen the organization's market position with a clear focus on expanding client relationship and servicing its clients across the region. Now it's time that I introduce my speakers, but before that, please put your hands together once again as I welcome Mr. Anirban Gupta. Our speakers, ladies and gentlemen, in an alphabetical order, I'll introduce them. Please welcome Mr. Apurva Salarpuria, Managing Director, Salarpuria Group. Mr. Salarpuria has been a part of the group since 2005. A qualified CA, he has worked with KPMG Bangalore for 3 years before joining the group. Apurva Salarpuria is the Vice President of Khaitan, Bengal, and past president of Entrepreneurs Organization, Kolkata Chapter. Please also put a round of applause as he's right here with us. Please welcome my next speaker, Basant Kumar Parakh, Managing Director, Orbit Group. Mr. Parakh has an illustrious experience of over 25 years in the industry. His passion for an exclusive lifestyle drives our foray into premium residential spaces. The man behind Rishton Ki Mithas values relationships the most. Presenting to you, Basant Kumar Parakh. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, would be Gaurav Dasgupta, Partner, Real Estate, Corporate and Commercial, Khaitan and Company. He has more than 16 years of experience and has a wide range of experience in real estate, which includes legal due diligence of property, drafting, vetting of term sheet, transfer document, such as conveyance deeds, leases, license agreements, trust deeds, etc., conceiving trust structures and drafting trust deeds. Gaurav also advises on drafting of construction contracts, project finance, EPC contracts, SEZs, joint development agreements, infrastructure and governmental contracts, and various aspects of RERA and real estate investment trusts. My next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, would be Vardhan Patodia, CMD Unimark Group. He is also the National President of Khaitan. As a founder of both the Heritage Realty Group and Unimark, Mr. Patodia brings with him over 25 years of experience in the realty sector. He has also served as the president of Calcutta Chamber of Commerce and on the boards of West Bengal Industrial Development Corporation and WBIIDC and several other government committees and task forces. My next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Pradip Chopra, CMD PS Group. Mr. Chopra is a former governing board member of Khaitan, founder and regional chairman, Export Promotion Council for EOUs and SEZs, founder of Educational Institute iLead, former president, Kolkata Chamber of Commerce, guest faculty at reputed management institutes across the nation, and author of several books on real estate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to hand over this wonderful session to our chair. Please put your hands together once again for Anirban Gupta.
Thank you. Am I audible? I mean, that's again, one of my friend, I think Pratik is here. He taught me this thing that pandemic has made us ask this question, am I audible? So just to introduce, I am the, I'm managing director for IPC called Colliers International. We are the third largest in the world. We manage about 18,000 professionals worldwide. Before I get into the question answer sessions, I would like to say a little bit about myself. I have spent 20 years in this market. And whenever I say that, it's East India, I always, in turn, this is what I say to my pan-India friends, that this is half of India, because technically East India covers 12 states, including the Seven Sisters, and we have got 3 international markets that we cover, which is Bangladesh, Bhutan, as well as Nepal. So technically we are covering about 15 markets, so we cover about half of India. So that's what we call. So those of you who are here and who are thinking of investing in Calcutta or in East India, this is the best time and you should look for it. So my key takeaways, so there are a lot of takeaways, when you spend 20 years in a market, you have got a lot of things to understand, to take away. I'll put 3 points, and then I'll elaborate those points with my panelists, who are the most respected people in the industry. My 3 key takeaway points was, like, my first 10 years, what I found is that this market, this Calcutta residential market, has been one of the most matured market in the country. Now, why I say this matured? Because I have done residential sales for about first 5 years. My 2 reasons for it is, one is I found out when I started that, the amount of projects, amount of apartments that gets sold out in the greenfield state is one of the highest in the country. The amount of trust a buyer has on a seller and a seller has on a buyer is immense and one of the best in the country. If you look into a brochure, when I used to do residential sales, we had a brochure. So the project is not started, but I found out that all the specs that the developers committed in the brochure, including the window panels and including the flooring, everything has been honored, like after 2 years or 3 years, and a great round of applause for all those who are here and all the eminent developers who have done this and built that trust in the industry, which is a big takeaway which I found out. My second reason for this trust, what I found out also during my course, is Calcutta is a market where your investors are less than end users, so which is really a notable point. You've got end users. When I was starting to sell Rajarhat Newtown, I remember even the end users used to do speculative buys and buy flats in Rajarhat with the anticipation that I'm going to stay here in 2 years, which is great. I mean, which is not there in most parts of the country, which is a big takeaway. That's my first 10 years, what I understood. My second phase, of understanding and learning in the industry that I saw is, as with time, the retail investors have reduced in the market, given way to NRIs in that 2013-14, and also leading ways to institutional investments, which is a big thing which is happening today. So institutional investors are, and we'll elaborate this point with a panelist, so we see a lot of institutional investors coming here, and they are going for senior living, they're going for student living and co-housing, co-living, a lot of concepts which are coming, which is a really new point. My third takeaway, which I'll say, is residential investment is growing at a higher pace. Like, we have a residential ROI, what we calculated was in the range of 2-3% all these years. We are speculating this to go up to about 5 to 6%, as with time in about next 2 years. And since we calculate real estate on nominal GDP, where we'll add on the inflation, which is about 13-14%, taking an inflation of about 7%, we are anticipating a 18 to 20% return on residential investment, which is a big thing, which will come up. So with this, I'm going to go back to my panelists, but before that, as a mark of respect to this panelist, I'm going to tell a small story to all of you. This is a non-real estate story which I want to put forward. This is a very nice story which I've heard about. It's about, I think all of you have heard about Picasso. Picasso has been a great painter. So one day, Picasso was traveling in a train and he happens to meet a lady. And this lady comes to him and says that, why did you draw something for me? And Picasso says that it's chargeable, ma'am. And she said, okay, fine, you draw it. And she went, and he started drawing, and in 30 seconds, he drew a beautiful sketch, and he handed over to the lady, and he said, 30,000 USD, ma'am. The lady got stunned, she asked this question that, it took 30 seconds, you were charging so much. Picasso replied, no, ma'am, it took me 30 years. And this is what this panel is all about. It's a huge experience panel. And we're going to start the questions, and we're going to ask a lot of things to them and want to know a lot from them. My first question that, I'm going to go is to Mr. Pradip Chopra. Sir, we were discussing about the first question, which is about the sustainability of the industry with a lot of green revolution coming up. So what's your thought about that?
See, sustainability so far is the least talked about, unfortunately, in our industry. But I have no qualms to accept the fact that after the industry and automobiles, building industry is contributing the third largest to the global warming and to pollution. So therefore, we as a fraternity have responsibility to ensure that although we are now all focused in making green buildings, but there are a lot more can be done. We can actually go beyond green buildings. There's a lot of possibility of using upcycled and recycled material in our campuses, in our buildings. For instance, I have made 3 campuses in I-Lead where 75% material used is all upcycled. I have even used old bricks just to prove a point. In my own house, I didn't want to preach without practicing. So in my own house, which is now finished, and I would like all of you to come and have a visit, 75% material used in my own flat is all upcycled, and it looks gorgeous. Normally, when you do this kind of work, people think, oh, it will look a scrapyard. And in fact, my wife was told by her friends that इनका तो दिमाग खराब है, ये सब कबाड़ खाना बना देंगे तो तुम तो मत बिल्कुल करना. मैंने कहा तुम अपना बेडरूम और अपना किचन तुम नया बना लो, मैं बाकी जगह तो अपसाइकिल करूँगा. And after a while she said, नहीं ये तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, अरे आप मेरी भी फॉल सीलिंग बना दीजिए ऐसे ही. So slowly she accepted that upcycling is not such a bad idea. And now I'm writing a book. This time in Abbott, I had showcased a lot of material. See, you can see that there are millions of cars. You see, I was just calculating 26 million microwave ovens are coming for scrapping. Can you imagine? There are 20 million washing machines coming for scrapping. The washing machine glass is a toughened glass, can be easily used in making, swimming pool lights. So I've actually done so many things I've showcased in the Abbott Fair. It's also there in my college. You can all come and see. And you're all welcome to come and see my flat. A lot of interior designing students, architects have come and seen the flat. I'm making a video, and I'm also making a video how to do it. And I'm trying to develop vendors so that the builders can get ready-made material. A lot of scrap yard we are using in this. So this is one thing I think we should take the lead before the government imposes regulation. We should self-regulate ourselves, and we should set an example that we are as conscious and as aware about environmental issues as anybody else, and we don't want to leave this world to our children in a situation worse than we got it from our parents. So that's our responsibility.
Thank you so much, sir. My question will continue to you, which is for many of you who, maybe a few of you who doesn't know, Pradip ji has been a person who has delivered more than 100 joint venture projects in the market, in the industry in Calcutta. And I always, so whoever, I go on meet along, having a piece of land, they would be so comfortable in handing it over to PS Group for doing a joint venture. So a little bit of that experience from you, I would like to know of this concept of joint venture.
See, joint venture for us was necessity because both me and Surinder started with no money. We are both first generation entrepreneur, and my father was in service and I lost my father when I was in first year. I was only 19-year-old. And Surinder also, just he left his college and there was a partnership in his family, so he also had not much money. So we had no money to buy land anyway. So we have only options of doing a JV, and our first few projects were only JV. Now, but how do we get JV? No deal can happen unless it is a win-win situation for both the parties. So we went to the owners and we said, why you want to sell the land? Because it is your ancestral property, and in India, we look down upon people who sell their ancestral property. Baap Dada ki property bech di. Aapki memories, you got married, your children were born here, you had a lot of memories of neighborhood and so on. So why you want to part with those memories which are very priceless? So you stay here. Now that your family has grown and this area this is not sufficient for your present number of family members, so therefore we will now do a construction and build, and you have no money to build yourself, you have no expertise, and you can't also sell because you don't have a name. So we will come and do all that. And for that, we will share, fair share that whatever is the value of your land, we will invest that much money in the construction and we'll split the whole area into parts, and you can have and you see, it was a winning situation for them. We mathematically proved them that if you sell the property and you buy another place, some flats, you lose in stamp duty, registration costs, finder's fees, lawyer's fees, and so on. And you will not get flats which are tailor-made for you because no builder is going to make for you your designed flat. Here we will make the flats as per your requirement, as per your design. So that liberty will give you the choicest flat, and you will stay in the same house. So this entire pitch worked. And he was also, we showed them that if you, suppose your building is, land is worth 1 crore and I invest 1 crore. So your total investment in this project will be 2 crores. We will at least sell the property for 3 crores because that is 30% up. We will do because 3 साल में लगेगा तो 1 crore 3 crore में बेचेंगे तो उसका अगर आधा आपको मिलेगा तो आपका 1.5 crore आपके you will get. So आपका 1 crore का प्रॉपर्टी 1.5 crore का हो गया, और अगर आप इसको बेच के दूसरा खरीदेंगे तो आप 1 crore का 80 लाख हो गया. तो आप चॉइस करिएगा आपको क्या करना है. So obviously any sensible person will say I will do joint venture instead of selling and buying other flats. So that is how we pitched, and it worked. It actually worked, win-win situation for both the parties, and therefore the only issue was the trust, whether we will deliver on time. And so we built trust by giving them on time and specification better than we originally promised. That is what you said, that this is typical of Calcutta builders, that here we consider our reputation more than anything else. And therefore I would say that this credit goes to all the Calcutta builders, and we have worked, and that is how we kept on getting joint ventures.
True. Thank you so much. So I'll ask my next question to Harshi. Again, for all of you, Harshi is one of my mentor in the industry. His son, Kumar, and I, we go a very, very long way. And, we have always been interacting with whatever, it's regarding, it's regarding work, it's regarding, travel, everything. So my next question to Harshi is, this is, again, bringing in all the experience, huge experience that he has. So what about the government policies? What about the schemes that's going on, and how positive it is going to build into the industry?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Anirban. It's a very important question at this time. See, the real estate industry has seen good times, and during COVID, it's seen the worst. So I think the government also has realized that they have to relook at the entire industry in terms of that the industry has professionalized its operations. There have been new regulations like RERA, which protects the consumer, which is creating more confidence in the market. So the government of I think West Bengal has kind of realized the importance of this sector and the contribution to the West Bengal GDP the sector is making. So first and foremost, a lot of policies towards ease of doing business in terms of different small initiatives the government has taken in terms of online sanctions and speeding up mutation, conversion, land issues, and all the documents are now digitally available. So all these are creating a lot of plus points for the developer, and we feel very comfortable in kind of speeding up our things. Secondly, immediately the government reduced stamp duty by 2% and the circle rate by 10%. This has encouraged a lot of people to kind of take decisions in buying homes. Then the government today has taken out a policy for conversion of 6(3) land for industrial and residential use, depending on by payment of some fees. And currently, the government has started a new policy of land auctions by land monetization, which is going to create availability of land for development in all around the city in the different micro markets. Plus, we've also seen the government now was giving leases of land. So now they are giving land on a freehold basis. So again, this is
responses are also very good, sir.
Very good. It's a very important milestone shows the mindset of the government towards the industry. The major issue with the industry still faces in West Bengal is the Urban Land Ceiling Act, where large-scale development becomes very difficult because people have to accumulate land in multiple companies and entities. So this is a deterrent in doing business, which is not encouraged. And because of this, we are not seeing a lot of foreign investment taking place in the country. They're not comfortable with this kind of structure. So this is one thing which the government needs to have a relook. And at the national level, the major issue a developer faces is about the input credit, which is not available in GST. So CREDAI as an organization at West Bengal level is taking up the issues with the government. At the national level, we are taking up the issue with the national government. Thank you, Anirban.
Thank you. Sir, I'll not leave you. My second question to you is about luxury housing, which is a new thing. I mean, not new thing, it's been very old, but right now is doing great in Calcutta. So a little bit of your thoughts and views on that.
See, luxury housing is doing extremely well post-COVID all over India. It's not only a Calcutta story. So let's understand that during COVID, what happened was the home became the epicenter of your life. Everything happened, like your entertainment, shopping, education, healthcare, space requirement, all of these things happened at home. We ultimately got shelter at home when everything was shut. So once this became the epicenter of life, people re-looked and understood what is the importance of a home. And also there's a lot of change in the mindset of people in terms of aspiration. People want to live. They want to enjoy. So this is one thing. Post-COVID, there's a requirement of larger spaces. Because of aspiration, people are looking at lifestyle, they're looking at amenities, they're looking at experience. So all this is coming out of luxury housing. And in every city of the country, see, ultimately there's only a finite amount of luxury housing which is being developed compared to mass housing, because there's a limitation. See, luxury housing comes with location, it comes with amenities, it comes with the lifestyle, and it comes with address also. So all these things are limited in every metropolitan city of India because we are all old cities. So this is again an issue which we have to understand, that luxury housing is not infinite. So there's amount, if you buy an address in luxury housing, it is that address which you have acquired. It becomes a monopoly. So I think all this is triggered the development and the demand in luxury housing sector. And I think Indians are getting more wealthier in terms of income, wealth. If you look at the wealth growth in the country compared to the global growth, we are faster than most of the countries in the world. So all this is going to definitely promote luxury housing demand in the country. And I think it's a great market to be in. So a lot of developers will specialize in luxury housing because it's a different kind of a ball game. Thank you, everyone.
Sure. Thank you. So my next question will go to Gaurav. And Gaurav has been a great part of the industry and a great friend to me also, because, without Gaurav, I would not have done two of the largest land transactions in Calcutta also. Thank you, Gaurav, for all your support. So my question to you, Gaurav, is I've got basically, two questions to you, which will be like kind of back to back. One is the Tenancy Act and how it's shaping up, number one. And definitely number two is about the urban land selling. So these are the two questions, Gaurav, how it is, how it was, how it is, and how it will be. I mean, that's what we would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Anirban, for the introduction. And actually, it has been a pleasure also to work with you and also the other people in the panel. So just to introduce, I am a partner at Khaitan Company. So we are amongst the biggest law firms in the country, having almost 1,000 lawyers across the country. We actually have a very big setup in Calcutta with almost 100 lawyers. And we do almost all, we practice all aspects of law, including real estate, obviously, which is a very major thing in East and Calcutta. So since the topic today is, which we are discussing is Kolkata real estate market, so first thing even outside this topic, what I feel is that all the laws, markets, etc., everything is there, but the main thing which we are lacking is the marketing. Like whenever I travel outside, everyone discusses that nothing is happening, nothing is happening. Point is that things are happening, the government is there, the builders are there, lawyers are there, everyone is there. Only thing is we probably need to market us more. Like there are so many schemes of the government which like the data, they have come up with the data service scheme, they had a ACZ scheme, there's a township scheme now, which not many people outside maybe West Bengal know. And I would like to congratulate Kredai. Many of the panelists are members and Apurva is a vice president who are doing their bit and a lot to market it, and probably we all need to do it as well. So now coming back to the question and the other things which was being discussed. So now what we hear is that when discussion happens, and you discuss with people, everyone is looking for an apartment, everyone is looking for a place to buy or stay. Whereas when you discuss with developers, they say sometimes the demand is not as high and there are inventories left. Now, why this disconnect? I think the disconnect is there because of a few issues. One, I think I have identified is a bit, which is the tenancy laws. What happens is that when we invest, like in many other states or maybe across the world, when you invest in a property, you not only always invest for staying, sometimes you invest for increase of price, sometimes you invest for getting money out of the property. The problem with lax tenancy laws, where the law is slightly more favorable towards the tenants, is that people are scared to give the houses on rent. So that what happens is it leads to many empty houses and people who are looking for houses. So the demand supply, that mismatch happens. Second, what happens is that nowadays not too many EWS or affordable housing schemes are coming up. So maybe the demand which is there in that sector is not being met to that extent. So I think these two are things which probably need to be addressed by all the stakeholders. Coming to ULC, which has already been discussed by Harshji, so we are one of the 2-3 states who still have the urban land selling, which is prevalent here. The problem with that is, there was a reason why the law was there, that the government did not want people to accumulate vacant land to a large extent. Nowadays, anyway, in the urban area, vacant land of too much is not available. So the limit, which is 7.5 katas, which is 500 square meters, is too low for the substantial project to come up. And that is a huge deterrent for builders and everyone to maybe come up with projects in the places where this is prevalent. Maybe two, three other things which, Harshji already discussed that the government has identified the stamp duty, which was an issue, and they have, for the past 1.5 years, they have reduced it for the stamp duty by 2%, which has helped the market, the registration immensely. one thing which the government has looked into sometimes, but which is a big issue with players, is the market value of the property. Because now the Income Tax Act and other provisions of law are such that doing transaction at a lower value than the market value, which is determined, the circle rate determined by the government, becomes extremely harmful economically by the buyer as well as the seller. So usually the market, now the government needs to look into the factor that the market value can increase or decrease. So taking that into account, maybe that can be changed or regularly that change can come into place. So along with the 2% discount which Harshji was discussing, the government has also given a 10% market value discount, which if they make it dynamic, probably would help the market a bit more. So mostly these were the things I wanted to discuss. Oh, also another thing which I have noticed in other states, which probably can help the people or the government here. Many states I have seen they give a discount on registration by property by women. So that is something which is a unique or a different thing which also can be looked into by the government here. So since my domain is legal, I mostly discuss with the legal points. I'm sure the other esteemed panelists here will discuss about the market. So I did not want to get into those aspects.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gaurav. There's been a lot of insights. My next question is to Basantji. Again, Arihant, Basantji's son, has been one of the most dynamic young generation in the industry, doing great, and has been a great friend also. So my question to Basantji is a couple of basic questions. I'm going to ask you. The first is about the rising issue of the common area maintenance. Like, when we start a particular project, especially residential, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, it looks quite nice, healthy, and then the depreciation starts, and then, there's been a lot of non-payments also. So what is the future of this issue? And then this energy cost rise and a lot of things. So how do we, going forward, how do we handle this scam issue of residential markets? It's a CAM, sir, the common area maintenance.
Thing is that it is a matter of the buyers getting educated, the builder becoming conscious of what is going to happen tomorrow. See, you make a building, you hand it over, but eventually it has to be maintained by the people who are going to stay there, who are going to own those properties. You have a professional expertise of doing it, constructing and also maintaining. But when it is ultimately handed over, we have seen in earlier years that we had less of professional agencies who used to take care of the facility management. हम लोग पहले कहते थे कि maintenance है, अब बोलते हैं facility management. The terminology have changed from casual to professional approach. This has become very important. And to explain the buyers that, and how you can make it easy, the maintenance and upkeep of the building over the period of time, the regular wear and tear, the ease, and everything, each and small aspect of it, which is covered in a facility management. We are professionals, big MNCs, professional coming into facility management. They know their subject. They have experts. And therefore, in recent years, we have seen that all major housing complexes, whether it is in affordable segment, it is in mid segment, or it in luxury segment, most of the builders are taking the help of these facility professional agencies. They negotiate with them. They know what kind of maintenance cost will come per square feet, and they share this and discuss this with their respective buyers or the holders of the apartment. So they are aligned. They are not surprised. What causes anxiety is a matter of surprise. आप पहले अगर सब कुछ बता देते हैं तो किसी को परेशानी नहीं होती है. परेशानी जब होती है जब उनको बाद में लगता है अरे ये तो नहीं बताया था. 100 रुपया आपको दे देंगे लेकिन वो 1 रुपया का जो सरप्राइज आता है उससे आपकी गुडविल इफेक्ट होती है और एक क्वेश्चन मार्क आता है या एक्सक्लेमेशन मार्क आता है. दोनों में से एक आता है. सो मोस्ट ऑफ द बिल्डर्स सी इट्स अ प्रोसेस ऑफ इवोल्यूशन. पुराने से आज में बहुत फ़र्क हो गया है. प्रोफेशनलिज्म आ गया है, एजुकेशन आ गया है, लॉज आ गए हैं, लोग समझने भी लगे हैं. तो अगर जब हम उनको सब समझा देते हैं तो वो एक इजी हो जाता है. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, कैंप चार्जेस के बारे में जो आपने कहा, तो अब क्या हो रहा है कि मोस्ट ऑफ द बिल्डर्स दे यूजुअली एनालाइज एंड इवेल्युएट दैट व्हाट विल बी द कॉस्ट ऑफ द पर स्क्वायर फीट would come over a period of say next 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. They explain it to the buyers, so buyers are aware about it, number 1. Number 2 is that the builders take a deposit and give it to the association. Association keeps the deposit, there are sinking funds and so on and so forth. So those kind of things are available with the association which is going to maintain the buildings. And last but not the least, as I said, the facility manager, where there is a peace of mind, where there is a maintenance, where there less of hassles, people don't mind paying money now. लोगों को तकलीफ जब होती है जब 5-star होटल में जाके उसको उस लेवल का खाना नहीं मिलता है तो they are ready to pay. So it is a matter of just perception, it is a matter of understanding, it is a matter of explaining and ultimately delivering. If you deliver well, people are there to pay. And आप शुरू में प्लान कर लेते हैं तो मेरे को नहीं लगता है कि बाद में जाके बहुत दिक्कत होती है.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So my second question to you is basically the topic that we are discussing about the growth and barriers of the industry. So what's your thought on the barriers of the residential market for Calcutta?
Barriers तो जिंदगी में हरदम रहेंगे. हाँ, अपने 60 किलोमीटर की स्पीड में चलते हैं तो लगता है 80 पे चलते तो कितना अच्छा होता. माँ फ्लाईओवर पे चलते हैं तो वो 40 पे आता है तो ड्राइवर ब्रेक मार देता है, खुद सेल्फ चलाते तो ब्रेक मार लेता है, नहीं तो बिप बिप करता है, अरे आपने तो स्पीड कर दिया. तो बैरियर तो ज़िंदगी में रहेंगे एंड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम हम उस बैरियर को बाईपास भी करेंगे. नए चैलेंजेस आएंगे तो नए बैरियर्स को भी हमको लगता है कि होगा. इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ पासिंग द हर्डल्स. इट्स नॉट अ हर्डल्स, ये हर्डल रेस की तरह है. You cross the one, oh, I've crossed it. You cross the second, third, fourth. You fall at the last. अरे this was difficult. अरे आपने 6 तो clear किया ना. ये भी clear हो जाता. कुछ कारण से नहीं हुआ अगर next time try करेंगे. So hurdles would keep on. We would be looking at hurdles, but we will also looking at how to reduce it or how to bypass it or how to eradicate it. फिर नए चैलेंजेस आएंगे तो फिर कोई हम उसको हर्डल करेंगे. तो अपने अगर बंगाल में देखते हैं या कलकत्ता में देखते हैं तो पहले से हर्डल्स बहुत कम हुई है. एजुकेशन बढ़ा है, लोगों का अवेयरनेस बढ़ा है, the authorities have become aware of it. They are listening to the builders or the association or the people who are related to real estate. I would not say only builders, we all are. Whosoever is with the real estate industry, let me rectify myself. All stakeholders, उनकी बात अब सुनते हैं. There is a better coordination. This is very important. When you have ears and when you listen, 10 में से 5 काम होगा, 6 होगा, 4 होगा, 3 होगा. Over a period of the time काम होगा. And the good thing is that we are discussing among ourselves. We are talking to the authorities. Authorities had ears, but now they are using it. Better than what they used to use the ears earlier. They are also discussing with your expertise. What we should be doing? They are listening to the real estate fraternity. Real estate fraternity means everybody. चाहे लीगल करें, मार्केटिंग करें, A to Z of real estate. They are listening to it. So the barriers are reducing, ease of doing is improving. One or two hindrances are there largely is, we all have been speaking for years together, is obviously the urban land ceiling, the matter relating to the conversion of the properties because of the urban land ceiling and other issues, the consolidation of larger pieces of land, which takes time, which we have to go through a lot of processes. Everybody knows, I will not elaborate on that. Those things are there, but I think the list is reducing. Barriers will keep on, ease of day. सब चीज हो रहा है, ease हो रहा है. और opportunity के बारे में तो अपने देख ही रहे हैं. If you see last 4 years, 3 years, we have seen the Calcutta market growing more than many parts of India. We have seen last year growth phenomenal. This year's first quarter has been great. The government has been supporting by increasing the year for completion of the project. The reduction of stamp duty, हम बोलते 2% कम किया, 2 नहीं किया, 6 का 2 किया, 33% reduction हुआ है, which is huge and which has shown results. So the government is listening. The associations are interacting more than before with them, and they have been receptive. Why? Because we are resource creators. The real estate, just 2 more minutes, real estate is a resource creators. हम कितना resource create करते हैं? 100 रुपए में हम 15 रुपए, 10 रुपया घर लेके जाते हैं, बाकी 90 रुपए का resource create होता है. Revenue भी होता है, production भी होता है, industry भी होता है, और government की revenue होती है, either in terms of GST, stamp duty, corporation tax, drainage, this, that, A, B, development of the infrastructure, and so on and so forth. If you start analyzing it, मेरे भाई ज़्यादा बोलेंगे, seniors हैं, that how much we take home after income tax, the builders, and how much we contribute to the government, the revenue of the government. This is very important, and I think gradually the authorities are realizing it, and we'll see in the times to come that they will give us the due credit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It's a great insight, great share. Now, my next questions will be to Apurva. Now, whenever I want to talk to him, I look at the clock because I have so many questions for him, and he is one of the most dynamic person of the industry with an experience of. So Apurva is a qualified chartered accountant. He has worked with KPMG also. He has built hotels also. So a part of hospitality and real estate mixed, which is a huge experience. So my first question to him is about the rising trend of institutional investments, which is coming in residential markets today. Like, it's been coming, it has been present in India, but now it's coming Calcutta also in a big way. And your thoughts about it?
Very good afternoon to my senior colleagues on the panel and all my friends and industry colleagues. Lots of familiar faces. It's good to finally have these physical events where we can see each other, and I've already got a lot to learn and so many perspectives to think about. So thank you for the opportunity. And Anirban, you spoke about institutional investment. I think, since FDI has opened up in the country in the last 15 years, we've had, large amounts of institutional capital flow in. Now we're also seeing a lot of domestic funds starting to put in capital in the country. And, unfortunately, we have, the ULC has been a little bit of a, challenge on that front, where we've had, not as much flow into the state, but a lot of domestic institutional capital has been flowing in, and we hope more will come in. The other aspect, where a lot of institutional money has been coming in is, for specific developer operators, for example, we were speaking briefly before this about different value-added services like, co-living, student housing, and things like that. And more and more senior living, again, something which is extremely relevant for the city. And I think going forward, while we are seeing a lot more of this in other parts of the country, Calcutta is beginning to see a lot of money come into these places. And going forward, I think there are big opportunities, especially in senior living in our city.
True. Right. Thank you, Apurva. My second question to you is, you have developed, a beautiful project in Durgapur also. So what's your thought on the tier 2 and tier 3 markets rising up for the country?
So let me just share with you our experience of working in Durgapur. I had just moved to Calcutta, about a little over a decade back, around 2011-12. And obviously was younger and more foolish than now, so we were exploring everything. And when we went to Durgapur, we acquired this piece of land over there from ADDA. When I did a survey, everything around, the highest selling price over there was about 1,400 to 1,500 rupees a square foot. This was the best projects available in that town at that particular point of time. We had a big debate internally, and we said, maybe it is it's a chicken and egg situation where there is no product available. That time we used to consider our cost of, as an industry, our cost of construction at about 1,800 rupees for a 8 to 10 story apartment. So, we were 1,800 that cost versus 1,500 of selling price in the city. We were, our conviction paid off very well. We started selling at 2,300 about a year and a half later. And by the time we finished the project, we were selling at 33 to 3,400 rupees. And I must tell you, this was one of the most successful projects for us in West Bengal. So the point that I'm trying to come to is that, the second and third cities like Durgapur and Siliguri are gems which are hidden, and, because not too much of supply is there, they are craving for quality development. We were able to sell this faster than any of our projects in the state. And I would encourage all my colleagues to go and look at these cities. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation. People are yearning for quality development, and I'm sure you'll find opportunities in these cities.
I agree with you completely. This, what we call tier 2, tier 3 markets have got a huge potential because the consumptions are really, really high. And when consumerism evolves, real estate will also evolve. Thank you so much, Apurva. Now, this question, before I open it up to the audience, how many of you have heard about this word called gig economy? How many of you have heard about this person called Grant Cardone? Any of you? So this gig economy is a new concept which has come up on what we call Gen Z. So there's been a lot of generations that's been evolving, and which was not there in our time. So this new concept which says about that, don't buy but rent. So rent, even the labor you rent, even the house you rent, even because for a young generation staying in Calcutta or Bombay or Singapore or New York is the same thing, because they're walking from each of the cities on the same way. Now this question I'm going to go back to Mr. Pradip Chopra, and my question to you, sir, is we were discussing about this point, that how to motivate the young generation and buy real estate in India or in Calcutta.
Sir, first of all, today we talk about that you can get a rental apartment at 3% of the value of the apartment. But this is actually not true. Because if you see that every 3 years, your 15% increase is happening. Let's say your duration of EMI is 20 years, and if you keep that apartment for 20 years, and with the increase of 15% every 3 years, you will land up paying 8% on an average. So it's not 3% of the investment, it is 8% of the investment. So first thing, you must teach the person who's taking it on rent that you are actually not paying 3%, you are actually paying over a period of 20 years, you'll pay 80%. So it's not 3%. 3% is in the beginning. So if you want, these days even EMI is available, which is called telescopic EMI. So you pay much less in the beginning and you pay at the end. Such EMI is also available. So if you take the simile, then you see that the EMI and the rent is not so different. Second, on the rent, you will not get any tax concession. You see, your real rate of payment is the interest you are paying minus the inflation, minus the tax benefit. You will see that you are actually paying zero. Because if you take out 7% or 6% of inflation from 10% interest you are paying, you are left with 4%. And 4% you are paying, you are saving as rent. So actually you're landing up paying nothing. So if you sell the whole idea that you are actually getting money for nothing, and you are staying there and enjoying the flat, you are having a lot of status and prestige is attached to this. You know, you are owner, very proud owner of the flat. And the flat at the end of your career will also help you to get reverse mortgage. That means pension. You will create a home equity after 5 years and 10 years of home equity. It is also a financial instrument against which you can always borrow money if there is an emergency, medical or education or social emergency. You can always borrow money from the bank. So if you say all that, I mean, your rental apartment will not give you any financial security. It will not give you any pension at the end of the career. It will also not give you any tax benefit. If you overall calculate, at any time, buying a flat is much better, make much better sense than renting an apartment. And, you know, the sooner you buy, the better you are. Yeah. I had seen flats available in Calcutta at 35 rupees a square feet, Ajanta apartment. Yeah, in Sindhu apartment, I got it for 60 rupees an apartment. In Hemchaya, it was available for 40 rupees an apartment. In Embassy Building, 80 rupees an apartment. Today, its going rate is 20,000 rupees. Tell me, which investment has given you this kind of appreciation?
Superb, superb. Thank you. That's really nice.
Where will you find this kind of opportunity in renting an apartment? You know, Warren Buffett said that I started investing in share at the age of, 14 or 16. I wish I would have started it earlier. I wish I had invested in the flat when I was 19-year-old, when the flats are available at 35 rupees, instead of buying ultimately the flat at, 5,000 rupees a square feet. So the sooner you buy, the better you are.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Now I will open up a few questions from the audience. There is a beautiful quote that says, if you want to influence, if you want to get a result, please influence the influencers. And there you have the panel of influencers. So anyone who wants to ask a question, please, I think, the mics are around, and please ask your questions.
Good afternoon. It's a question from Mr. Gaurav, Kedia Company. Supreme Court has come with a verdict a few days back that on adverse position, if you have a 12 years position on a property as rent, then basically you get the rights on the property, not the title, only the rights. And the owner loses the right on the property. Please explain it.
Hello, am I audible? Yeah. So, the issue which you are raising is not something which is a new one. Adverse possession is something which has been prevalent for a long, long time. And the judgment which you are mentioning is not also a new one. So this is adverse possession is a concept where suppose your property, someone else is staying and you have not given any claim on the property for a decent amount of time, then it is assumed that you do not have any claim on the property and the person who is occupying the property has some right on the property. So this actually comes in the wide ambit of the issue which I was discussing, is having having a law which is fair regarding tenancy, which is pro the owner as well as pro the tenant, so that there is, like RERA has come, which looks into the interests of the builder as well as the people who are purchasing. the tenancy laws in general now are not that evolved. Like, for example, in Germany, I mean, the thing which sir was discussing, in Germany also people do not buy property. But there are institutions who actually purchase the property and give it on rent. So there are many youngsters who would never buy property, but because the tenancy laws are such that the institutions are investing a lot in the property, there is no problem as such with the demand and supply. So adverse possession, the issue which you were discussing, is probably an issue amongst the bigger basket of having more fair tenancy laws, so that what will happen is that the best possible scenario is when not a single apartment or a house will remain vacant. That is the main problem. Like, you go to any of the bigger societies, you will see around 30-40% property, the apartments are purchased but vacant, which is a big loss, because there are people who want to stay and there are people, there are vacant apartments. So probably something like that would look into the issue.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav. Any other question anyone has?
It's a very interesting discussion, and we have got so many insights. I'm Pradip Sadani, real estate agent for 35 years. My question for Mr. Harsh Patodia is, being NER president, and nowadays for last 5-10 years we are facing a lot of problem because so-called Vastu problem. So this is one thing. Why don't we make a proper survey and give a clarification? Because many buyers, they don't know anything about it, and there are people who are taking undue advantage. So we are very fail to close the deal. So can we do any survey from the CREDAI India and help us and clarify the matter? Thank you.
Pradip, you raised a very controversial question. Faith versus science. So I don't think CREDAI is in the position to answer that question. It is a much, much larger forum which needs to take this up. And all this is like a bit of a personal belief. Like, somebody believes if a black cat crosses the road, you should not walk. So, really an organization like CREDAI is not the right organization to address this issue. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Any other question anyone has? If it's no, Acha says one more question.
वास्तु के लिए तो कम से कम ये देखना एंटी वास्तु नहीं हो। काफ़ी लोग कोई भी अपना बिल्डिंग लेता है, छोटा सा फ्लैट लेता है, वास्तु देख के लेता है। कोई एंटी वास्तु होता है, उसको एक बहुत ही मुश्किल से फ्लैट लेता है और वो उसमें अपना घर चलाना मुश्किल हो जाता है। तो मैं जितने भी आपके ये प्रमोटर है, जो भी है, वो एंटी वास्तु नहीं बनाए, वास्तु से ही फ्लैट बनाए, एंटी वास्तु नहीं हो।
Sir, before anyone answers your question, I have a small announcement. Apurva, Acha, this is a normal statement. Okay. So anyone has any other question? I think I have a small announcement. Apurva has to leave for something urgent. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to ask this question to everyone out there. Like, markets in Rajarhat and Newtown has been escalated since the last 5 years now. Do you guys think that after the upcoming metros are done and functionally running well, the market rates are going to increase, the residential market especially?
You see, Newtown, I'll take this up. Newtown is a very evolving space. If you look at not only the connectivity through metro, look at the kind of social development infrastructure which is built over there. The openness and this amount of social infrastructure which the area is getting, both by private investment and the government, is not comparable. All the facilities of star hotels, medical, all other infrastructure which a person can think of is now available. So people want to have much better lifestyle rather than living in an older part of the city. So if you look at even other parts of India, like for instance, Gurgaon or maybe parts of Bangalore, so this is the same story which is evolving over here. I think it's a great area where people will start living, and I see great potential in that location. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And since we are running a little short on time, we'll take the rest of the questions. Feel free to have your questions and share with them with our speakers offline. Now is the time, ladies and gentlemen, when I shall invite Sapna Srivastava on stage to present a token of appreciation to all our panelists and our moderators. Give them a round of applause once again, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I think any session in Bengal should not start post-lunch. You get only 5 claps in a room where there are at least 100 people. Can I get a huge round of applause, everybody? These are our esteemed panelists for session 1. और एक बार जोरदार तालियों के साथ इनका बेहद स्वागत किया जाए.